today we're going to be tackling the top 5 best Pokemon in each role to play and carry with in ranked right now. We're about to head into another brand new season. It's literally happening in a few hours from now. So before we go into the season, I want to give you the best advice going forward and the Pokemon to pick that are going to be able to give you the most wins, and of course as effectively as possible. I'm going to cover all 5 roles, and I'm going to have 5 Pokemon for each role, just rated in the order I think they're strongest. Now of course, if you like this kind of content, as always, smash the like button, sub to the channel, and leave a comment down below what Pokemon you think maybe I've underestimated or what maybe I've overestimated. Now of course, let's go and build this tier list together and let's begin. Okay, great, let's get started. And when we're looking at this right away, so we're going to go and start with top carry. I did do support last time because I thought it would throw you guys off, but we'll do top lane first because it's a brand new meta. The EX Pokemon are going to be officially banned and ranked, so we don't need to include them anymore, and it's going to be a lot more open. If you want to carry in ranked as a top laner, what do you guys think you need to pick? I'm telling you right away that probably one of the most obnoxious, powerful, and scary top laners in the game is Leafeon. I do not know if you guys have been watching the tournaments or any of the competitive gameplay, but we've seen this Pokemon everywhere, and for no small reason. In the top lane, you are guaranteed level 4 pretty much as long as you have some idea how to lane, and we're going to go over that in a second. But more importantly, being guaranteed this idea level 4 makes you a very powerful Pokemon. You already have a lot of snowballing potential, and to make it even better, this is going to allow you to get even further ahead, put the opponents down, usually end up in kills. You have high pressure for the bees. You're going to be able to rotate and make high effective plays to the low level 8 Unite move. Leafeon is all-round monster right now. It is probably one of the best Pokemon in the game, and something that is definitely not being played as much as I think it should be, which is surprising because I would of course love easier games, and Leafeon being in more of the games make it harder. Having a secure like Solar Blade in the game is very hard to deal with, and you need to acknowledge and respect it. You need to look for the Leafeons, and you need to be very mindful that players can't play carry Pokemon when Leafeon's in the game. So of course, these are just some food for thoughts. I think Leafeon's the #1 pick. Now of course, for second, I'm gonna draft in the Buzzwole. When we look at a top carry, and actually carry, if they're playing tanks and they're playing beefy characters or characters without much CC, Buzzwole is king. And especially if they have good backliners. You're going to probably notice a lot of these top carries are based on the backliners. Now I don't want to be too long on this, but basically Buzzwole's ability to grab these squishy Pokemon and then combo chain stun them without that full heal, which you're seeing a lot less of. It's really scary. Now speedsters, they have a little bit of an easier time because they usually have the full heal, they get away once. But attackers are helpless. You eject flash, you flash onto them with any ability of your choice, and you pretty much can move a person from 100 to 0 and also stun lock them inside your team. It's absolutely absurd. The lane phase is good. You're going to have a good game all around. Sometimes you're going to have some tricky times when you can't get on top of the enemy team, but Buzzwole has an insane comeback potential. It also beats Metagross. At least that's what I think so far. Every Metagross I've played against, I've been able to do really well against them, and I feel very happy about the matchup. So it's definitely some food for thought. I think Metagross is, one of the better Pokemon in the game, even despite its emergency nerf that it was received. And talking about Metagross, I think we're going to have to include the Metal Boy into the top lane tier list if you want to carry. Now, I think it is still really good. It's not my top pick of the patch, and that's just because they've nerfed the damage numbers. It's still obnoxious. It's still really fine. I think this is more of a flex pick. It can definitely be rotated between the two. Its early lane phase is very doo-doo. You need to respect that. You need to know it. Metang is not a character. When you get to Metang, you're a character, but Beldum is just not a thing, dude. It's just, you get my Bionicle somewhere else. Put it away. So the Beldum I don't like. Metang is very good, and then from there you get the even more powerful Metagross. And I think once you start hitting Metagross, you're really unstoppable. You just need to find your angle. You need to just get in, and you need to respect. Okay, they're gonna eject away. All right, I'll let you live. I'm looking for the play next. Don't overcommit. Use your Night Move to finish off kills. It's pretty simple. I feel the character is very cut and dry. Everyone's been pretty much noticing this Pokemon is just absurd. It's just so strong. And now for another #4 pick from the top lane, what do we think is really strong and that's underrated as a carry to carry these games? And it's gonna be, in my eyes, Mimikyu. I know maybe a lot of you haven't seen, and I guess I'm snubbing Blastoise here because I usually talk a lot about Blastoise. It is really good still, but Mimikyu, it is underrated, has a high top level secure, it's not that bad in the lane. You can get the stacks easily, and if you snowball so hard, you guys are noticing these Pokemon are all Pokemon that can defeat the backlines very easily, have huge snowball potential, just the overall threats throughout the entire game. It's just something to think about. These Pokemon are absurd. I mean, like, look, just it is what it is. Like, Mimikyu is one of those Pokemon. It has incredible farming speed. It lives in and loves the solo lane. It has a great time in the game right now, and I think Mimikyu itself is a little bit underrated. We're not seeing as much of it because of other factors, and I think those main factors are Umbreon. You need to acknowledge that Umbreon's going to be in the game, and if you can angle yourself to play around it in the right way, you can sort of nullify some of the advantages Umbreon gives. You can unite move the Umbreons. You know, you can do a lot of things to deal with them in that sense, but you can like have a really direct solution outside of one-shotting the Umbreon or disabling it, but out of like abilities. So for my 4th pick in the top lane, it's going to be this Mimikyu. Now, going to the 5th pick in the top lane, you're probably thinking, what's left then? What's going to really hyper carry game, really make a difference, really show the enemy team? And look, I think it's a bit of a surprise to mention this one, and I don't always talk about, like, I guess, off-meta characters, but I'm going to talk about the Mystical Fire Sylveon for my 5th pick. I've been seeing this a lot in Asia. It is very annoying. Like, honestly, like, I want to give, before I do this one, a special mention to Blaziken. I consider, like, more of, like, an interesting Pokemon to fit in. I think it's something that you should consider learning if you are very good at Blaziken and you understand how it works and how the lane phase should play and how the game should go as a Blaziken. It's good. If you don't get that, it's very, very miserable, and it can be a very, like, basically you can do nothing. So you don't want to do that as Blaziken. But yes, back to the Sylveon. Look, level 4, you get this jump move or they get the scream move. Which, okay, scream move, it's just similar, like, we've been having a lot of power creep in the ability power carries. They're very strong right now, and a lot of them are very, very menacing. And so when you get to shred magic defense, I think it's just a nightmare. When you consider tanks are probably like the strongest role right now, it's very, very hard to play the game when your tanks are getting shredded, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I have to deal with their tank. Not good, not fun. If you're getting ready for the new EX meta, like, expect to be some Sylveons in the game, it's definitely an idea as a top lane carry. I think it's very creative. You have Mystical Fire build, you have Hyper Voice build. You know, give it a go every so often. You know, of course, don't hit the lane. Don't go for over-aggressive fights. So when you hit level 4, you're going to be annoying people. Don't be going A9. Be going Sylveon. All right, okay. So now I'm going to talk about supporters. What are the supporters that are really making a difference in solo queue right now? I mean, look. If you want to carry a game, like, I'm going to get into fights over this one. You probably don't think that I'm saying, like, carry game literally. Clefable is carrying games. It is single-handedly beating down teams. This Pokemon is just absurd. No. I'm choking up speaking about it. You have gravity. Like, I mean, look, we talked about this, guys. Is like, I love Hoopa, and I want Hoopa to be better, but like in terms of against Clefable. But it's just, this is not. Clefable just offers this group healing that's insane. This ability to secure objectives. The Hyper Beam chance. I don't know if you guys have been seeing this, but Hyper Beam, I've been seeing it every objective, just securing random things, everything. It's just a bit gross. I don't know what to say. Very strong right now. The heals are good. Gravity's good. Follow Me is good. Unite Me is good. I don't see why you wouldn't call this the best support in the game. And I think definitely in that sense, it's also the best solo queue support. I'm going to put second, Eldegoss. I know a lot of you have been complaining. Players are not taking my portals. And so Eldegoss is Hoopa if they didn't take your portals. Yeah, it's a bit slower. The healing comes over time. Your auto attack is nasty. Your lane phase. That's the main thing we look out for in these ranked games is the lane phase. You need to have a good lane phase. You need to do well in the game. You need to start the game on a good note. And you do that through a strong lane phase. And that's, what you're going to get when you play these games. When you play as Eldegoss, you're going to get a strong lane phase. And that's what you're looking for. Of course, remember, follow around your team. Try to make space for the players in the game. Don't be a person who's just like really crowding onto the situation. Be an open-minded player, a blue player, I like to call them, and try to create the situations. Just go with your team, go with the flow, get vision, try to urge your team to do things, but not, be too set in your ways. So, Hoopa comes into number 3. I mean, this is a no-brainer. You have some of the best auto attacks in the game. Once again, it's another lane stumper. The main difference between Clefable and the other two is it's not really a lane stumper. It's just so broken later. But Hoopa is a lane stumper. You do have the portals. If they take them, it's even better. Unite move is really good. Lots of damage. I mean, as a support, you never mind a bit of damage. You never mind a bit of CC. It's very dandy. You're having a great time. It's a very good Pokemon. It has a high skill cap. It is buttered by its high skill cap. You need to also have a team that works with the Hoopa. If the team isn't working with the Hoopa, well, then the Hoopa isn't effective. But yeah, just given all these facts, it's a very good pick. Definitely something to be considered. Now, of course, like I know there's a lot of other support picks, so it's kind of unfair to rate all the, like, I could put all the regular supports, right? Comfy can't make this list. I feel it's too hard to play in like a solo setting. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to put like some other characters, like if you weren't going to play support, well, what would be good? So I actually think Mr. Mime is kind of okay right now. It's not terrible. It's not good, but it definitely does have the advantage of being able to surprise the opponents. You're going to be able to take people off guard with like, what a niche pick it is. And I think it's just something you should be willing to give a go. Now, I would say that I'll probably want to put as a higher mention in ranked is the Blissey. Now, of course, if you can identify that there's a good player in your team, the Blissey has insane value. You're going to be able to win games because you can get huge bowling ball unites, got a decent lane phase again. Like these are, if you want to play support in ranked, you're looking at these characters. Mr. Mime, of course, is more of a for fun one. Like, you don't want to rank, but like don't want to sweat, but you're going to have some fun. It's definitely a character up there. It's definitely worth a try. Give Power Swap and Psychic a go. It's silly. Like, I mean, it's not a great, like, game-winning moveset, but it's probably more on the carry end than something like Comfy. All right, now, the central area Pokemon. What is going to be leading the pack in this patch? Now, if you want to carry in a solo sense, I've had my opinion changed in this a billion times, and I'm really undecided right now. But I think the best solo carry from the central area is Glaceon. I don't know what we do against this Pokemon. There is almost no outplay you can do against a good Glaceon, and it's suffocating. And like I'd say, like the barrier, of course, like to be okay at Glaceon is not very hard, but like to be a good Glaceon, I think it takes some merit, and that's where the problems that I think really lie, because then they never get caught. They always have passive up. They rip every objective, and they can double Icicle Spear you. And once they're starting to double Icicle Spears, I just think the game's a wrap. You can't dive into it because it just targets you and murders you. As Glaceon yourself, you have this incredible rip potential, but then you do so much damage to tanks and speedsters alike with, very little thinking about it. You don't need to calculate, hey, look, like I need to think. No, you target the ability, and then you position appropriately. You auto attack, kiting, like you're like Cinderace on drugs. Cinderace with like a homing Pyro Ball. And I'm like, look, fair enough. It's the meta for Glaceon. Embrace it, guys. I said tanks are in. Who kills tanks are the winners. And this thing just murders tanks. Now, for number 2, another mage, Gardevoir. Guys, like this Pokemon is super sleeper. You need to be giving it a go if you are not playing it already. It is gross. I'm sure you've all seen videos out like 7 ults a game, 10 ults a game, 9 ults. It's just so much. It's too much. I think it's really good right now. Definitely should try it. You get Unite move off low cooldown. You have a lot of pressure from the whole game. Yes, you have a garbage level 4. That's why we go to jungle. And then we compensate that with our level 5 gank, which is really powerful. Use your level 5 gank correctly. Don't be blind to it. Remember, you can kill players. You can put pressure in the game. And you can go and set yourself up to a good lead. It's very good. It's very strong. Give it a go. So, and for number 3 in the central role, I actually think this is going to be quite funny. I think that a good carry is going to be Dragapult, which is the AD version, or like the physical damage version of this Glaceon. It's literally the same thing. It's achieving the same kind of goal, which is, hey, look, my idea here is I want to keep my range, I want to get high levels, I want to rip objectives, I have some sort of secure, I scale really well. Now, of course, you're probably confused. We've seen 3 attackers. I've always put a speedster here. I just think right now the meta is not exactly favoring the speedsters very heavily, and I want to make sure that you guys are in the right situation, and when you are picking the speedster, it's the right game for it, and we're going to talk about it in a bit. But yeah, Dragapult, incredible range, incredible damage. It's very snowballing character. Like if you can get ahead, it's very confusing and like it punishes uncoordination, and that's what solo queue really is. It's really uncoordinated queues. So when the uncoordination strikes at the heart, this is a Pokemon that is appearing in front of you, and you're going, okay, wow, I'm dead. All right, great, thank you, game. I'm having so much fun. Really fun, really cool. Okay, going to the next pick, it's Zoroark. I mean, like, look, I can't do my Zoroark is just so good, especially in ranked. I think it's losing more value in competitive play because it's a bit easier to play around, but you can never stop this character from snowballing. Both builds are insane. Level 5 gank is beautiful on both builds as well. It doesn't need too much to go. It can fight things from levels down. It's scary. It's menacing. It's all over the map. It's all over the enemies. It makes it very difficult to appropriately react. And this is exactly what you want to try to do when you're playing like characters like Zoroark. It's just push the speed of the game, go into the enemy team's face, and actually, like start threatening the game. Get in their faces, start running around, take them down, camp the buffs on the enemy team's side, play on the enemy map, and really make the game difficult for them. I think it's a Pokemon that when have mastered it, it is possibly the best Pokemon in the game when you've mastered it. But if you haven't, of course, there's some drawbacks. There's going to be some fails. There's going to be some bad moves and stuff. And I haven't mastered it myself, so I can say for sure, like I've seen this in my gameplay, but a majority of the time I'm finding it very smooth sailing, very effective. It is a solo queue stomper. You get ahead on this Pokemon, you can shut down the lobby. If you have a support, you can shut down the lobby. If they don't have good tanks, you can shut down the lobby. It is a crazy carry right now. Definitely something to keep your eyes on. And speaking on that end, I think this is definitely underrated right now, but it's Dodrio. Normally I'd put like someone like Mimikyu here, but I feel like Mimikyu, it's a bit underwhelming in the scoring end, and that's like, where the disappointment lies. I think Dodrio is like sort of the antithesis to these other characters. It has the kill potential in all three. I've given you a very mixed pot here, right? Like you've got 3 carries which do pretty much the same thing in different forms, and then you've got 2 carries that do the same thing in different forms, and they both counter each other. The range guys are good with the tank guys. The speedsters are good with tank guys. It's just about which way you want to play and how you like to cut it. I think this could really go anyway. But Dodrio, very powerful. Tri-attack, still really good. The nerfs on Drill Peck are almost undistinguishable. Just never take agility. The Unite move nerfs, I promise you, majority of the time, you're not going to feel them heavily. This Pokemon does suffer from like the current meta and like the secret picks, I guess. I'm going to talk about in a bit. But as of right now, it is just gross. It's so strong. I think like when you have a game that is good for Dodrio, it just completely takes over the lobby. It's a good Pokemon to learn, and it has a lot of mechanics that really help you take them down. With the CC on demand on so many different moves, with the ability to go a poking build or all-in build. I mean, like I think you can't really be too upset about the position of Dodrio in the meta right now, and I think it's definitely in top 5. So moving down to attackers, I mean, like, look, is this not like this character is just the best? It's very frustrating. I'll be honest. As like a player, it's very frustrating. This is possibly like the best solo queue character because you have self-peel. You just dash away. It goes through stuns, by the way. So if you do it in time, they don't stun you, you will jump away. And that is just so broken. Your snipe shot is one of the best secures in the game, one of the best pokes in the game. It allows you to play like for yourself and by yourself. And that's something that we just beg that we can do in solo queue. I want to play for myself. You're going to notice these characters are all characters that can hit Rayquaza to some extent. That's why I've rated them so highly. I really like characters that are going to be able to make an impact on the Rayquaza. Because in solo queue, a lot of the time, you're going to need to actually just do it. So, of course, as always, just keep that in mind. Yeah, so Inteleon, good lane phase, good mid game, good late game, good auto attacks, good abilities. Nothing really to fault with this character. I think maybe in competitive it falls in tiers lower, but right now in ball lane as an attacker, it's damn good. And it's not a bad option. And if you weren't going to go some Leafeon cheese or Glaceon cheese, it's one of the best characters I've listed, and I think you will enjoy it. It's very fun to play, of course. You get very satisfying, like huge crit damage. It is what it is. Inteleon is very powerful. Definitely something you should have in your disposal if you're going to go on attacker role in 2024 in Season 17. So, of course, tackling on this next point, well, then what would I say is the second strongest? I actually think this Pokemon is super slept on, Chandelure. I don't know what to say about this Pokemon. The rise to fame, I guess it started with CrisHeroes and other content creators dropping like massive Chandelure games. I've never seen a Chandelure be like completely useless outside of a player just not knowing what it does. You have Flamethrower set. Like Overheat set isn't as great, but Flamethrower set has this a way with the game. You're talking about like a level of power right now that I think is actually very, very slept on. Like Flamethrower and the furniture moves is just so good. If they have so much dive, you can go to the restriction, imprison. You don't need it. The furniture melts tanks, and it's all about dealing with tanks and dealing with the carries that are behind them. Inteleon does it with its own way and snipes. Chandelure does it by burning through their health bars, literally. It's insane. You do have a weak lane phase. Acknowledge that, respect that, whatever. You hit level 5, you forget it, forget respecting them, run onto them, throw the thing on the pad, farm 200,000 damage. You'll love it. It's super fun. It's really creative. I think it's one of the most enjoyable Pokemon in the game in terms of like you just get big, like you're like, wow, they just blow up. Hey, look, I mean, I didn't make the game. It's pretty depressing that this is one of the best Pokemon right now because it has so much power and like it's just damage numbers. You just hit Rayquaza with like 7 flamethrowers and it's dead. I think that's always a problem. And yeah, definitely a character to go right now. One of the best in the game. I think you all will enjoy it if you're looking to win more ranked games. Now, of course, talking more about these Rayquaza hitters, talking more about the characters that can make an impact, of course, it's going to be Venusaur. In the attacker position, a majority of the time, you're going to see like Mew, Inteleon, Glaceon. Sometimes you see weaker characters or like offlaners and stuff, and tanks, of course, in the lane too. Venusaur is just the character that scales well, does well, doesn't have any problems with it naturally. It has long fight, like it's like a sort of Inteleon's little brother. You have this long range beam that Inteleon got sooner. You have this damage, like boosted auto attack, which is quite nice, which Inteleon has a better one. And you have no damage, no move away, but you do have Life Steal, which is really cool, or Magic Shred. Both are really nice. This Unite move is incredible. If you can aim it right, if you can actually get it to work, you are like gonna be golden. You can do so many things with it. You have good secure. That's like a bread and butter. These Pokemon all can rip ray, all can hit the thing and then just get it done. Maybe with some type of secure, and that's what you want in solo queue. It's the main feature you're looking for. I think Venus autoplay. You should give it more of a go if you haven't, and if you are, well then you know. Of course, let's get it done. So I'm going to put Espeon in position 4 here because this Pokemon in solo queue right now is feeling like one of the most annoying Pokemon to play against. It's one of the top 5 carries to patch for sure. You just click this one R move. You don't need to think at all. And I'm not sledging anyone. I'm not like, trying to be mean to players, but it's not, you don't think about your character's gameplay, and that's a huge buff to making good decisions. I'm not flaming because I'm trying to explain that when your character has less mechanics, right, less optimal gameplay, you can literally just think what needs to happen in the game and how do I my character enable it, because you don't need to be like, oh, I need to hit my stun combo. I need to go. You don't need to do that. You just go walk, click the R button, and then, or like, the move 1 button, which is like the whatever is missiles, psi missile. I don't know, man. It's like just getting targeted by a bunch of missiles. And I die. I'm like, why did I lose 4k health? I'm sure you've all experienced it. Really, it's decent in lane. It could be better, but it's not bad. It's fun to play. It's got really good like anti-dive. It doesn't really like murder the tanks, but it can. It's not bad anti-tanks. Got good secure with the side beam. You're never going to miss the secure there. Unite move is good for peeling. Look, at the end of the day, when attackers, I think, is like on the bottom end of the Pokemon in the patch right now, it's definitely not a bad choice, and it's definitely something that's going to be interesting and fun for you. And for number 5, it's Delphox. Yo, you're probably thinking like, oh, you mean Delphox carry build? No. I mean spin. So spin, super underrated. You have these melee supports. You have these melee top laners. They have dive, but if you just spin them, it's the same thing as Chandelure, just a lot less effective. Spinning, throwing the things, just chilling. It's just good stuff. It's just so much damage. You have a great Unite move that permanently comes up. You're very frustrating and annoying for the tanks in the game to play against. Hey, look, like you're going to make a lot of impact in the game if you can get to level 7 before objectives. And I think more often than not, Fire Spin Delphox is like a super secret OP. It's just about, if you know how to play that kind of character, it's going to excel for you. I think that those 5 attackers, they're set you up for life, guys. Like, I think right now in this meta, it's hard to recommend the Mew, which is, I guess, what I want to recommend at like heart, because I know what's going to happen. You're going to play Mew and you're going to have no Ripper Rayquaza, and you can't like initiate fights by yourself. So I'm trying to go and create you Pokemon that are going to be able to win these games solo if it comes down to that. If your team puts down the controllers, can you still win? And I put all these Pokemon in the yes category. As the tanks, what's the number one tank in the game? I mean, Sulu, do you even have to ask? Are you stupid? It's Umbreon. This Pokemon is... I mean, look, I just want to say, why are 3 of the EVs S tier, or like the best in the game, in their slots? Of course, this is just for carrying, but yes, I think just if you want to no-brain it and play Umbreon, just no-brain it. Look the right people. Think about, of course, who do I need to stop? What do I need to stun with Snarl? Like, don't die, of course, for free. When you're doing that gameplay, you are drawing so much pressure. It opens up the map for your team. It is like the biggest pressure alleviator. And if you play it correctly, it is just a nightmare. There's so many Pokemon that really struggle into it. So I definitely have Umbreon as like the first most to play right now in the tank role. Now, number 2, I mean, I normally would say Slowbro, but I've actually been seeing a bit of a rise of a different Pokemon lately, and we're going to talk about it. It's in the Blastoise. XP share Blastoise is never going wrong. Look at the Pokemon in the meta. Engaging with Blastoise is going to be very good. It's going to be very nice for your team. Your people are going to be like, hey, look, like, at least I got this Pokemon. Like, at least, like, you can sort of carry the game with it too. Like, of course, Umbreon. You can actually rip Rayquaza, Umbreon, and Mean Look, but the same thing comes with Blastoise. You can deal a lot of damage. Hydro Pump's good, secure. It's just you're rolling in the dandy. I think it's a very good Pokemon to pick up and learn. It's super good. Now, I'm going to put Trevenant in number 3. Now, I know you're all, once again, like, well, where's Slowbro? We'll get to it in a second. But the reason I want to put Trevenant ahead is because this Pokemon is super sleeper. The idea of it, at least, is super sleeper. It is able to deal damage. It is able to annoy the team. It can hit the Rayquaza. It can help with the team. That all the categories I'm going to check off in like a solo carry tier list, they're all done, right? It makes sense as a Pokemon. You're level 4, like before level 5, you suck. You're basically like a twig. Speed up that level 5. Whatever you do, get level 5. You were like the twig that connected Mjolnir. I don't know if you guys remember watching that 4 movie. No, not 4 movie. The Avengers. And yeah, the Avengers Endgame. He's like, he makes the thing. Yeah, it's like the twig turns into Mjolnir, and then now you're this big tree that's just clumping people up, slamming on them. Like, I mean, I can't emote enough about this. It is gross. If you're playing against players on pink, they cannot move for the next 7 years. If you're playing against green pingers, maybe they can escape. Most of the time, they can't. You buy them so much space. You have a huge health bar. You're everything that encapsulates this meta that is really difficult to operate in, and you are still able to carry the game. Like, it's just a huge Pokemon. Definitely look at getting better at it. Definitely look at, like, involving yourself in the game. You have huge potential. Use it. Slowbro. Yeah, okay. Guys, come on. Like, at this point, I mean, I hate making this list for tanks because Slowbro always gets on there because you click one button on your entire thing. This ZR button, it's even dirty and everything. You click this one button, you just need to do it once in an entire game and you win. I hate it. I hate that mechanic. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. And for that reason, it does always fit into the top 5 carry Pokemon. If you were sick of losing because one guy is just 10 times better than you, click the button and destroy them. They can do nothing. There's nothing they can do. No human can save them unless they're in a trio queue against you solo. Click the button. ZL. Unite move. Broken. I don't even want to. Broken. Not fair. Broken. The rest of the character, I think, is doo-doo right now. I think its lane phase is mediocre. I think its surf is average. I think its sustainability is average. I think everything about it is average. But the Unite move is broken. It's so broken. I don't understand. And yep, that's exactly what it is. Guys, as I said, that's the only thing I want you to think about when you play Slowbro. Unite move and how do I use it to win. All right, okay. And for my last pick, I've got a super sleeper. Lapras has been nerfed, and I don't love the other tanks right now. Crustle? Hey, look, that's a little bit of a spicy big Ducati. Get yourself a pizza, put it down, and start eating the Crustle pizza. It's just crazy. If you look at the central and attacker characters I've suggested, and even the top characters, if you imagine a Crustle that's just big in that game, it's very hard for those Pokemon to play, and that's exactly what Crustle does. You speed through them, you X-scissor, and they're dead to the wall. If you don't want to do that, don't go Stealth Rocks ever, but just get the other wall, put the wall down, this massive monument to, I don't know, Mount Rushmore appears, and then you trapped half of their immobile characters. It's so annoying to play against. The Unite move Flash combo is so crazy. It's really good. It's just something that I think is heavily underrated. Definitely just worth giving a go. And I guess that caps off the list and the understanding that these are all Pokemon, like I've given you 5 in each role to be able to carry. I don't think that if you're picking out of this tier list, I'll never be in a game and think, oh yeah, that person is trolling. Like, as long as you're pulling the right build and stuff, these are Pokemon that are like, oh, I'm like, damn, okay, I have a better chance than not to win. Definitely something to think about. It's a very creative list, I feel. I feel I've given you lots of options and varieties to play, and it's probably not exactly rated from 1 to 5 in strength, but it is in a way. So, of course, as always, if you love this video, if you love the content, if you love the channel, drop a like, drop a sub, leave me a comment. What do you agree with? Do you like my explanations? Do I need to elaborate more? Anything that didn't make sense of? You know, of course, as always, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll always reply. I'm doing that right now, by the way. And, of course, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. Cheers, guys. I'll see you very soon.